Well, today we heard from the Fed Chair, Jerome Powell, with regards to interest rate hikes. And it was not a surprise that the Fed has decided to, once again, second month in a row, to hit the pause button on interest rate hikes. Now, the question I'm getting is, Jay, does that mean interest rate hikes are over for the year? And can we finally get back to interest rate cuts as we roll into 2024? I think it's been since January that I've been fielding questions from people about interest rate cuts, not increases. This battle with inflation is ongoing. There's a lot of issues with the economy. And one of the things that continues to be brought up is, how long is it going to take for us to get back to the next round of rate cuts? Now, Fed Chair Jerome Powell's made it clear there's no immediate plans on the near future with a round of cuts. He continues to remind the analysts and the economists around the world that as far as the United States is concerned, we're still battling inflation. It's cooling off just a bit, but he's after that 2% inflation target. We're well above it. And yet we still have people that are trying to say we need to be getting back to these lower interest rates as soon as possible. And the danger is people are actually positioning their portfolios with this in mind. I would like to remind them that many times the battle with inflation doesn't last months. It can last years. And that seems to be escaping most people that I'm reading about, talking to, or that I see being interviewed, that they're like, well, here's the status of the interest rate hikes. And then they immediately roll into when the cuts are going to start taking place, or when we're going to see the pause followed by the cuts. Folks, we're looking at least one more interest rate hike this year. I'm looking almost as that as a guarantee, and then another pause or so after that. 2024 is not already predestined to be the year of interest rate cuts. In fact, we could be battling inflation for years. Now, that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but when you look at historical data, as I have done for decades, one of the things you see a lot of times is the battle with inflation many times lasts a lot longer than a few years or a few months. Sadly, there's a lot of people who are basing their take on all of this on their own personal history, which a lot of people do, I understand. It's, well, we had interest rates so low for so long, and then with this little blip where the interest rates increased and, they paused, but they're going to be going right back down. It's a lot like looking at the intraday chart for a stock, either for the day, the week, the month, or the year. And you see it going up, and as it comes down, you're like, okay, based on what's happened in the past, this is what's going to happen in the future. I'm very quick to remind folks, just because certain things have happened in the past does not mean that's what's going to take place in the future. So what I'm trying to do here is to stress to you, if you're one of these individuals that is banking on the future interest rate cuts that you think are going to be coming later this year, the beginning of next year, the middle of next year, I'm going to try to caution you saying that may not happen. And look, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. But I do understand that the Fed has told us until they meet their 2% target for inflation, they're going to continue business as usual. They're going to continue doing what they're doing. If it requires more interest rate hikes, if it creates the need for additional pauses, that's exactly what they're going to do. So for me, it's a matter of, well, I'm looking for at least another interest rate hike this year, 25 basis points. I think I'll probably do it. And then when we roll into 2024, we'll be looking at the data, and because again, the Fed's very data driven, to see exactly what's going to take place. Some people have asked me, Jay, are we looking at interest rate hike, you think, in October? Well, the Fed didn't raise interest rates this month, and that's exactly what we expected. And there's going to be some more economic data that's going to come out prior to next month's meetings for the Fed. And that's going to give them the opportunity to kind of measure, kind of see what's going on so that they can determine if they're going to need to hit interest rates one more time in October or perhaps November. But again, when you read the headlines where people almost seem to be begging for a return to lower interest rates, keep in mind that we've got a long way to go. And this battle with inflation is going to take a great deal of time. And unfortunately, for people that aren't well positioned, it's going to create a lot of financial havoc along the way. So if you'd like to learn more, subscribe to our channel here. We have some additional updates that are upcoming. there's some challenging times that await us. And I'm anxious to talk about them and tell you how you can prepare for them as we're moving forward.